Hello everybody, I am here doing some bubble coffee dyeing, and I thought I ought to try a couple before I went out and did it, and I got totally carried away and did a whole bunch before I realized, oh wait, I'm supposed to be filming. Oh no, this is leaked. Okay. All right, so let me show you what I have been doing. Let me start with these that I started yesterday. So these, that just got wet. These I started yesterday, and I did some stenciling. I have this fabulous stencil, which is right here. It is by the Crafters Workshop, and it's an ammonite stencil, and it was a 12 by 12, but I cut it up because I don't generally do with 12 by 12. So I started stenciling those, and I used speckled egg and ancient mariner, and I used the ink and the oxides and some white gesso for splatters. I think that's basically it. And I did the spray on the stencil, and then I took the wet stencil and I smushed it on the back for some very, very subtle stencils. And then in some places today, I added some bubble staining. It's super subtle on this gray kind of paper. I've had this paper in my stash for a really long time. I don't know where it's from. It's probably just from Staples, like a recycled paper. And then here are some of the bubbles that I made. This is like a cardstock. So I did it on some cardstock. This is white cardstock. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving how this is coming out. Yeah, I should stand up so I can see what you're seeing. All right, so I've done some cardstock. This is cardstock. This one here is just copy paper. And this, I should say, is totally inspired by Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. So I did some index cards. These are still damp. But I just absolutely love how these are coming out. I'm so thrilled. And she did warn in her video, I'll link that below, that it's addictive, and it totally is. These are manila index card. Look at that. And I like even how these have soaked up some of the excess, and they look like they've been distressed along the edges without me doing. I've done no distressing. All I've done is blow bubbles. So I've got those, and I also did some envelopes, but they're wet and sticky, so I'm not going to show you those. And then these are some book page tags that I had in my stash. That one came out really nice. And you do both sides, and you can just like totally mass produce this stuff. You just blow bubbles and run the paper over it. Oh, love that one. So I'm doing these with my ocean journal in mind that I started yesterday. And there's going to be a playlist, so I'll stick this in that playlist. So I'll do a couple more so you can see how I've been doing it. In this Pyrex canister are 2 heaping tablespoons of instant coffee and a cup and a half of warm water just to help the crystals dissolve, and then a couple good squirts of Dawn dish soap. And I didn't measure it. I just did it and blew some bubbles to see if it would make bubbles and called it good. So here I have some large index cards. So all I do is, let me see, am I in? Yeah, okay. So you blow. And then you just run your cards in. I may be running out of soap. I might have to recharge it. Oh, that works. See? and then you set it aside in your pile, and I just let the bubbles expire on their own. And then I'll show you one other thing. Hold on. So you get the big bubbles, and then along the edges, the small bubbles tend to accumulate. So what you can do with the small bubbles is I've been taking these and I just kind of scoop around. And the cool thing is I take my wet straw and you can just kind of spread them out. So you can use those little tiny bubbles as well. And they spread and you can kind of direct where they go. How fun is that? Oops, I need the back. Let's do the back. Scoop and spread. So, and they come out quite defined, and I like to get them right on the tab because I don't know how what these are gonna be covered. But yeah, this is just so totally fun. So what I wanted to do next is I also have a couple of cups of warm water, and see, I can just spread those bubbles and kind of direct where I want them to go. So yeah, I think that'll wind up looking like the shore when the little bubbles wash up along the beach. Some little ones too, and you can layer them. This is so fun. See? Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside. So this is just a glass jar with warm water and Dawn dish soap. The Dawn dish soap comes colored. So the color from the soap doesn't transfer, but that's why it looks blue. There's nothing in there yet. Okay, just wiping off my straw. And I wanted to try using some other colors because I really want to try colors. So I have the Ancient Mariner reinkers. I have Ancient Mariner paint. Uncharted. I'm sorry, Uncharted Mariner. I keep calling it Ancient, but it's Uncharted Mariner. So I've got the ink, the Oxide, and the paint. So let's try. See, I want to see what happens if I add some ink. You know what? I'm going to dump out a little bit of this because I think I've got too much in here. So I dumped out about half into the coffee one that I had going. So I'm so excited. So how are you all? Hope you're all well. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. It's been a struggle to get my subscription numbers up. So thank you to everybody who clicked like and subscribe, and thank you to the folks who have left comments. I appreciate the comments. It's nice to have interactions and to know that you're being seen. So I'm just gonna do a squirt of the Uncharted Mariner. This is the Distress ink. And let's see how that works. I'm gonna try it first on this piece of splotchy cardstock. One of the things I'm hoping to do is to try and get some color added to some of the ones that I've already done. So let's see what happens. Let's give it a stir. Ooh. Ooh. I think that's gonna work. Oh. I think it might work better in a larger vessel, but the ink is working. It's leaving a really subtle bubble color. Oh, that is really fun. Oh, that's really fun. Okay, so let's try. Let me do the back. Oh my goodness, that's so fun. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna catch some of these with some of the cards we just did to see if it shows up on here. Because that's a manila color. And I will put that back over here. And here is, let me get a piece of cardstock. Here's a piece of cardstock that with the coffee. So I was curious to see if I could layer color as well. Oh, I think it's working. Oh, I think that that's what this ink will be really good for, is layering color, because it is nice and subtle. So I can layer. Oh, look at that. That one is coming out really nicely. Oh, and it's soaking through so you can see the one behind it. And then this one is, ooh. So I can also, whoops, that's blooped. Can kind of selectively fill in the white bits of where it didn't come out the first time. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so this is ink. Remember that for me. That's ink. I just splooched a bunch of that out. Get it? And the other nice thing about this is it's getting my glass mat all nice and clean. Okay. All right, let's try the Oxide, the Uncharted Mariner Oxide. Okay. Again, I had that too full, so I poured it so it's about half full. And let's try some Distress Oxide in this one. Oh, this is coming out so great. Look how, whoops, avalanche. Look how pretty and subtle. Can you see that? Oh, you can't. Shoot. What if I use this light? Can you see right there? Oh, it's super subtle. It's not picking up on the camera. Oh, sorry. But, oh wait, how about that? Oh, how about if I poke at that? I don't know. You're gonna have to take my word for it, I think, because it is super subtle with ink, but it's really pretty in person. All right, I have some Distress Oxide re-inker here. Okay, let's try a squirt of that. Okay. Ooh, that looks really pretty in there, doesn't it? All right. Let's give it a stir. And I'm going to do this piece of, this is copy paper. These are just splatters that have happened from inking. Oh, did I just move that out of frame? No, I'm kind of still there, but keep it there, Jessica. All right. Oh, that's giving some nice results. That's a little bit, can you see that better? Yeah, I think you can see that better. All right, let's get this page finished, and then I'll grab another piece of cardstock or something that's had the coffee on it, and see if we can layer up how it layers up. All right, let me put that aside to dry, and I'm gonna reach over here and grab a piece of cardstock that has coffee bubbles. So there it is. And let's see if we can layer on some. Oh, I think the Distress Oxide is working really well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to leave a much more noticeable mark. Oh, it's super pretty. Very excited about that. Let's see on a card, one of these manila cards. I bet it works better on the manila cards too. I'll do my scoopy trick. I'm just going to set that aside to soak. I'm going to try one of these while I'm at it here. Yeah, that seems to be working really well. How about just on cardstock without anything else? I think I wish I had a larger mouthed thing. That's gonna look cool, spreading it out. And get this corner. Oh, there's a different technique. Scoop and spread. Oh, that's gonna look really cool. I'm gonna set that aside to dry. Okay, I've got one more experiment I wanna try. I have the Distress Paint. And I think in the last cup that that card's looking pretty good. Distressed ink Oxide. Let's try some, paint. Shake. It has the Distress Paint. So when I bought the Uncharted Mariner set, it came with ink Oxide refillers. It came with ink Oxide sprays, and it came with ink Oxide pads, and it came with this paint thing. It also came with one of those little enamel pins, and I just don't get the enamel pins. I'm like, not sure what that's about. Interesting thought, but couldn't. I remember trying to find a set that didn't have that little pin. Couldn't. So I don't know. I think I've lost it. I don't even know what I've done with it. All right. Sorry. I should have opened this ahead of time. My apologies. Don't go away. Because, you don't want to miss what happens with the paint. And then I'll show you that we can do the comparison of the things that we've made so far. So don't go, don't leave me. Okay. All right, it's open. Let's give it a squirt of paint. Ooh, pretty. That one's pretty dense. Okay, so let's try it on a piece of cardstock that has bubbles. Oops. I think that's going to give us the strongest Yeah. Strongest color yet. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And an index card. Do I have an index card with ink but not color? Here we go. Here is one of those index cards that has lots of tiny bubbles but no color. Whoops, sorry. Keep moving that. Ooh. Oh, you guys, let's put that down. Let's put that down right there. Oh, you know what? It's not soaking in. Well, that's interesting. It's kind of sitting on the surface more. All right, let me get some paper. Okay, so here's a piece of copy paper. And it's got the coffee bubbles. It's slightly damp. Let's see if I can fill this space in here. Oh. Wow, that's pretty intense, huh? So I suppose it makes sense that the, sorry, wanted to get some on that spot right there. It makes sense logically that the ink would, the paint would give you the most intense color, followed by the oxide, and then the faintest one is the ink. So depending on what you want to have happen, you can gauge let me try the paint. This is that grayish paper. It is not the Amazon paper that's faux distressed. This is just gray copy paper. See what happens when we put it straight on this. That was a good technique along the edge. Oh, that's interesting. It definitely, it leaves a very dark, well, we'll have to judge when it dries. Okay, how about just on cardstock with the paint with nothing else? Oh, you guys, I love it on the cardstock. Because the cardstock is sturdy enough. Oh. Oh, I'm in love. The cardstock is sturdy enough to handle it.
Hey, Ruth.
So.
I have a package. I'm putting it on the stairs.
Sorry, that's my family. My noisy family. Okay. All right, so I'm going to sit here and do a whole lot more. And I hope you come back. My next video, I think, is probably going to be making some stamped labels on the Avery sticker paper. And I will, at the beginning of that, whatever I do next, I will show you the results. But I think I'm in love with this. Let's see what it looks like on the back. So it's faint on the back. But that, I mean, if that doesn't say ocean, look at that bubble. Look at that bubble. I mean, that's what I'm leaving you with. So if you stuck around, I appreciate. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a play. I hope you stay safe and have a great day. Bye-bye.